Welcome back, Clashers. Today we're going to be talking about the worst defensive clan castle troops you could use. Now, some of these are going to be fairly obvious, but others you might be using in your clan castles right now. We got a tier list here. We're going to take a look at that and go through it. Before we jump into that, if you're wondering what's the best defensive clan castle to use, check out this video right here. And with that, let's dive in. Now, unlike the previous tier list, this one we're going to take a look from the top to the bottom. So we're going to be starting out with the first line here, the best of the worst. It's going to be the Super Witch, the P.E.K.K.A, and the Dragon Rider. Now let's take a look at the examples of these against a Queen Charge as well. The Super Witch actually has potential to be good. She's got the big boy that's very tanky. She's pretty tanky herself, and she does splash damage, but the problem is 40 housing space is too much, and obviously there are going to be better things that you can put in that slot for that housing space. Now that's going to be true for pretty much everything on this list. Nothing in this tier list I recommend on defense, even as filler troops. If you're looking for good filler troops, again, check out the other video. Next up, we do have the P.E.K.K.A. Now, the P.E.K.K.A is pretty tanky, and she can hit pretty hard when faced with a Queen Charge. The P.E.K.K.As can actually send the Queen to ability when no spells are used. But the problems with the P.E.K.K.A or that she can't target air troops, and she's only single target damage. So if she did splash damage, I think that would probably put her on the other list, but she can only hit one target at a time, and that is why she's here on the worst CC troop. Alright, and then the last one in this tier, and the runner-up in the air troop championship from my previous video, we've got the Dragon Rider. Now this one actually has potential, but unfortunately it just doesn't quite cut it. There are better options. I think a regular dragon with its splash damage is going to be better ultimately in this slot. Plus, it's 25 housing space. That also puts the dragon a little bit higher. All right, moving on to the next part of the tier list, we've got the better than nothing group. First of all, we got the Super Hog Rider, the new troop coming in, the new super troop, I should say, and it does split up and it takes quite a bit to get through, but the Queen is able to get through these with no real problems whatsoever. After that, we do have the Giants, the Super Giants, first of all, coming in. They're pretty tanky, but the housing space, you might as well use Ice Golems. They're going to do the same job significantly better, because all the Giant can really do is tank damage. They can deal a little bit of damage, but with any spells involved, it's going to be completely negated. And then it's going to be the same thing for the Giants here. They can come in, they can do a little bit of damage, and they can take some damage, but at the end of the day, they're not going to make much of a difference. Finally on this list, we do have the Yeti. So I actually see this quite a bit, especially in Legends League, the Yeti coming in. This is not a good troop whatsoever to use in your defensive CC. It does have the Yeti Mites, but it just can't hit very hard. It doesn't take a ton of damage, and the Yeti Mites don't really do anything for you. But hang on, it gets worse, because now we're going to be taking a look at the middle tier, the ones I labeled as meh, because that is pretty much how their performance is. First of all, the Hog Riders, I was a little surprised by them. They're definitely the best in this group. They're able to do some damage to the Queen, but some problems with the Hog Riders is point damage, and they can't hit air troops, similar to some of the previous troops. Next up, we have the Super Archers, and they're just not going to do much for you. They're too squishy, and they can't do much damage. You can't hold very many of them. Next up, we have the Super Wizard. It's going to be the same problem. They can't really do a whole lot for you on defense. They just don't do much damage, and they're pretty squishy. And then finally on this list, we do have the Super Bowler. Now, of course, the Super Bowler can toss his rock for 3 bounces. Not a single one of those bounces is going to be helpful for you. As we make our way down the list, the next tier we have, not at all helpful. Yes, somehow it gets even worse than the previous troops. So we're going to kick it off with the Miners. The Miners don't even go underground on defense. I don't know if you do that or not, but the Miners will stay above ground and slowly make their way over to the troops and quickly get taken out before doing any real damage. Next up on the list, we do have the new troop as well. We've got the Apprentice Warden, and with a bit of testing, we can see that it hits like a wet noodle on defense, not providing much value there at all. And then finally in this group, we do have the regular bowler, just like the Super Bowler, but it gets one less chance with the bounce to be useless. All right, and here we go. The absolute worst troops of the whole bunch. You guys could probably see these coming. We've got the regular wall breaker, the super wall breaker, and the healer. Now, obviously the wall breaker and the super wall breaker could do a tiny bit of damage when they explode, but that's it. They only get one shot, and they don't do a lot of damage in that one shot. So they come out, they explode, and that's pretty much it. And then the healer obviously can't do any damage, and you can't fit a ton of them in a defensive clan castle, so it's not like they're going to go heal up a defending hero to the point where it actually helps out tremendously or even at all. It's just not going to do any good for you whatsoever. And that is going to be a wrap for this video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you think I'm way off on any of these, or do you think the tier list is looking pretty good for the worst defensive troops in the game? I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say on that. Also, if you enjoyed this, be sure to check out my previous video. We had an exciting one with some air troop showdown action. We put all of the air troops against each other in a 1v1 matchup. We had a lot of fun with that one, so definitely check that out. Also, be sure to hit thumbs up and subscribe down below so you can catch my next videos. Thank you guys for stopping by. I'll catch you all next time.